Station 13 had been abandoned for almost 25 years, a crumbling brick building on the outskirts of Grayson City that locals avoided like a cursed landmark. The antenna tower still stood crookedly above it, rusted and lifeless, but the station itself had been off the air since the night of September 4th, 1997, the night everyone in the city remembered, even if they pretended not to. Officially, the station was shut down due to equipment malfunction and staff negligence. Unofficially, people whispered about screams broadcast on dead air, a strange voice that didn't belong to any DJ, and a final transmission that ended with a sound no one could identify. The strangest part was that the entire broadcast was wiped from archives. Every tape, every log, every digital trace. All that remained were the memories of those who heard it and wished they never had. For years, it was nothing more than an urban legend. Until I found the tapes. My name is Thomas Hale. I'm an archivist, or I was before all of this, and 1 week ago I was contacted by a man claiming he had something connected to Station 13's final broadcast. He refused to meet in person. He only left a parcel in my mailbox with no return address. Inside were 2 cassette tapes labelled S13 Do Not Restore. The handwriting was shaky, uneven, almost like the person wrote it while their hands trembled uncontrollably. I digitized the first tape immediately. What I heard never should have existed. There was no DJ introducing the show, no music, just quiet static, fading in and out like the signal was fighting to stay alive. And then, a voice. Not a human one. Not fully. It sounded like someone whispering through a throat full of broken glass, a low, fractured murmur. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We see you. I paused the tape, chills running down my arms. People said the final broadcast caused hallucinations, panic attacks, and, in a few rare cases, disappearances. I always thought it was nonsense. But hearing that voice for myself, something about it felt wrong in a way I cannot explain. The second tape was worse. When I hit play, I immediately heard a man breathing heavily as if he were running. "This is Mark Wilton, Station 13. Can anyone hear me? They're inside. God, they're inside." Tangled noises burst through the speakers. Something metal collapsed. Something inhuman shrieked. Mark continued, his voice cracking, terrified. "They came through the static, through the broadcast. They're not people, they're not..." Then the tape cut out abruptly. I replayed it a dozen times, trying to make sense of it, and then, halfway through the 13th playback, the audio changed. A different voice bled into the recording, a whisper layered with countless tones. "You hear us? You open the door." The whisper wasn't on the tape. It was reacting to me, speaking to me. I shut my equipment off and left the room immediately. That night, something strange happened. At exactly 1:13 a.m., every radio in my neighborhood turned on. Static flooded the streets like a storm of white noise. My phone lit up with a notification. Station 13, live. Impossible. The station had no power, no staff, no functioning equipment. Yet the broadcast was happening. Against every ounce of common sense, I drove to the station. The building was dark except for a faint light flickering in the studio window. The front door was slightly open, swaying softly like it had been recently pushed. Inside, dust coated everything except a single path of footprints leading toward the broadcasting room. They weren't human footprints. Long, narrow, almost like stretched hands pressed into the floor instead of feet. I followed them anyway, my breath shaking. When I reached the studio, the old broadcasting console was powered on, even though the wires were severed. The microphone was upright, its red on-air light glowing. Against better judgment, I leaned in. Hello? At first, there was nothing but static. Then the static shifted into whispering, 1,000 overlapping voices. Some sounded like men, others like women, some like children. But none of them sounded alive. And then the broadcast addressed me directly. Thomas, we remember you. I stumbled back. The voices continued, growing clearer, louder, layered with something like laughter or crying, until one voice rose above them all, a single hollow monotone whisper. You opened the tapes. You let us back in. The microphone screeched violently and the room went ice cold. The lights flickered, and in the reflection of the studio glass, I saw them. Tall, thin silhouettes standing behind me. Their faces were static, literally, as if someone had replaced their heads with swirling radio noise. Their limbs twitched with unnatural precision, jerking like stop-motion puppets. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. And then the broadcast whispered one final sentence. Join the signal. Everything went black. When I woke up, I was lying outside the building, rain pouring over me, with no memory of how I got there. My phone was shattered, my car battery drained. I'm writing this now from a motel outside Grayson City because I don't have much time. The broadcast started again an hour ago. It's spreading. Every device picks it up. Phones, radios, televisions, anything with a speaker. And each time the whisper comes through, something in the corner of the room flickers. I can see them now, occasionally standing near the walls, twitching in and out of existence like a weak signal. They're getting closer. If you hear static that shouldn't be there, if your radio turns on by itself, if a broadcast calls your name, turn it off. Do not listen. Do not respond. And whatever you do, never, ever play the Station 13 tapes. Because once you hear them, they hear you too.